Okay, I'm gonna do my Sculpt class for you guys today. And so again, I've got music in my ears, so I may upload this on YouTube or not. And if I do, I can't have music playing. All right, so remember we go in blocks. Remember we got first block, 5 exercises. We're gonna start with 10 reps, rest, then move to 15 reps, rest, and then move into 20 reps. So I really kind of count your first set as your warm-up, since we're only doing 10 repetitions. So we are going to do, you can either do a side raise with a reverse lunge, or you can do a bicep curl with a reverse lunge. You could actually also do both as well. So I'm going to start with a fairly light weight, because again, it's still a warm-up type thing happening here, okay? Sometimes I'm going to use the ball. I'm going to give you options to play with. So remember, options. Can't do it that day, don't even worry about it, okay? But we are going to stay on one leg. I'm going to show multiple angles is what I'm also going to show. So if I'm on the floor, I'm more inclined to do a bicep curl than a side raise. But you certainly can do a side raise, okay? So again, I'm only doing 10 reps. Engage the glutes, slide those shoulders down the back. And set one more, we switch, and again, you could actually also do one leg side raises and then one leg bicep curls. Again, totally fine. And stay nice and tall. Slide those shoulders down the back. We're not trying to race it. Notice I'm also not short stepping this. Last one. All right. So then your next move, okay? And again, we're not racing into each movement. And I know sometimes if you're in person for class, it seems that way. We're really not trying to do that. So again, start off something fairly light. We're going nice and wide, okay? So then as we squat down, we're gonna get a really big pull on those adductors. Now notice how I'm holding the weight. I'm gonna hold it end to end versus like this. End to end gives you a little bit more space in the shoulders, okay? So we're just gonna go down and up. Again, engage the glutes, slide those shoulders down the back. Notice I'm staying nice and tall. I'm not trying to tip forward. Your hips will let you know the depth that you're able to take structurally, okay? Press one, again, if I'm off by 1 or 2, either direction, you can fix that if you need to, okay? Now, you're gonna grab your ball if you have one, okay? Unlike the last video, I'm not gonna give alternative options. You've got a Swiss ball, you get to do this next movement. If you don't, you can either skip it or make up your own exercise, okay? All right, so Swiss ball. Slide those shoulders down the back. I'm not sagging in those hips. They can come up, so I'm already working. Notice I'm sliding my shoulders down the back, pulling the knees in. But notice I'm stopping right at the hips. I'm not pulling this into my chest. If I pull this into my chest, then you end up rounding. And that's not the intention of this movement. Good. And just one more. Good. Again, we're only doing 10 for this round. Okay. And then we have a Swiss ball crunch. Now, certainly you can do this on the floor, but you'll miss out on the nice thing about this movement, which is moving behind the floor in essence, okay? So we do conform to the ball to the best of your ability. The farther back you go, the more work it is for your neck musculature. Your neck might not be strong enough yet, and you may need to roll down the ball to make this easier on your neck. So it's just 10, draw the belly in. Now in general, because I'm teaching, my mouth is going to be open. But you you should have your mouth closed, tongue on the roof of the mouth right behind the front teeth, not staring at the ceiling. You're following that point all the way down to looking at those abdominals. Just do one more. Good. Now again, my mouth is open because I'm cueing, so you guys can remember what you're supposed to be doing. All right, tricep push-up. So this is where the hands come directly underneath the shoulders, elbows slide, biceps slide along the rib cage. Elbows don't flare out on this one, you keep them in. Okay, now you can do modified or you're going to do full. First one I'm going to do modified because again I'm warming up. Then we want to think slide the shoulders down the back, gauge the glutes, slide, draw the belly in. As I descend, I'm not bringing my hips first. Hips are up. I'm going down. And then I press up. Now, you may find that you're not able to press back up with good form if you go all the way down to the floor. If that's the case, then just go halfway and then back up. Just one more. Okay. You want to make sure that you do have good form so you can have longevity in this. It's fine that you don't go all the way down to the floor. It's okay that you're not on your toes. Stretch, get a drink, even if you don't feel thirsty. You don't want to wait until you feel thirsty. Just always wet that whistle. And let your body tell you what it needs from you, okay? Now, that first set of reverse lunges on the floor, just know that is a place that you can still go, even though I'm going to show this next one on the Swiss ball, okay? Now, you may discover that you need to be back down on the floor. I may discover that. Okay, now, if you're going to use the ball, top of the foot is on the ball. So look how much of my shin is not on the ball, okay? Now, as I go down, notice I'm lunging my leg back. I'm staying fairly tall. It's rolling to my shin, rolling to the top of my foot. Draw the belly in, gauge the glutes. You don't have to do any arm pattern here if you don't want to. Okay, but let's say that you want to play with an arm pattern. You can play with an arm pattern. And notice how much slower I'm going, because there is a lot more happening because of being on the ball. Just have one more. Good. All right. And then we take our time switching to the other side because it does take some time to settle again. Now again, you don't have to start with any arm pattern. Okay, first get your bearings. Draw the belly in, gauge the glutes. Slide those shoulders down the back. And again, you can just keep the arms still if you want to keep the arms still. You can add a side raise. You want to add a side raise. If that's too much for you, you can go into a bicep curl. Remember, there's plenty of options. Good, again, slide those shoulders. I'm not swinging the arms, I'm not folding over, that's your last one. And weight goes off to the side. Now, you feel a bit warmer, felt stronger than you did with that lighter weight. When you want to go up to a higher weight, feel free. So remember, we've got a nice wide stance. Again, it is easier to hang on to the dumbbell end to end. All right, so squat it down and up. Engaging those glutes. Slide those shoulders down the back. Make sure that there's tension going through the legs, both directions. You can slide those shoulders down the back. You may find you need 2 dumbbells in each hand because you need a bit more space even than what this is providing. And make sure there's tension through the legs. And we just have 1 more. And release. Again, we don't need to race into each thing. The nice thing too about these blocks is that maybe you only end up doing block 1 today, and then maybe later on today you get into block 2, or you spread it out, which is totally fine. So again, you're grabbing your ball, and slide those shoulders down the back, and hips aren't sagging. We gotta use those abdominals to lift up those hips. Keep sliding those shoulders down the back, drawing the belly in. Those knees stop right underneath those hips. Okay. You may find you need to bring the ball closer to the body to make this a little bit easier. This is like going from the 10-pound weight to maybe the 7-pound weight. And we just have 2 more. Last one. And release. You can easily probably just do pike on the floor or jackknife on the floor. So it would be supine. But again, I'm not going to show those options today. All right, so you're going to find that Swiss ball. Crunch position. Remember, we conform to the spine. We tuck the chin, roll, and then unwind. Your mouth is closed. Tongue on the roof of the mouth, right behind the front teeth. The gaze is looking down the cheekbones. Down the cheekbones. Okay. Again, you might find that you can be further back on the ball if your neck is stronger. Okay, so you do want to feel this in the front of the neck, right around that voice box, dead center. You're starting to feel it in the back of the neck. You need to change head position. Make this a little easier. Last one. And now your tricep push-ups. Now you can still stay on the knees. You could also play with doing this on the toes. So again, I'm not sagging to do my push-ups like this. It's a guaranteed back problem, okay? Yeah, now for this one, I'm not going all the way down to the floor. I want to challenge and build strength for my toe being in the full position versus on my knees. Not that the knees are easy, but I want to get stronger here. So even, one more, partials, yikes. Even a partial push-up in that position is going to get me stronger, and I'll eventually go lower. Okay, so again, we want to pause, stretch it out. That means quads, hip flexors as well. Make sure that you are, again, just letting that whistle. And you don't want to wait until you're thirsty. It's too late for the most part. All right, now, if you felt confident on the ball for your reverse lunges, just go back to the ball, okay? We're going up to 20, okay? If you were having trouble, you were spent more time fighting it than you were strengthening, then you need to probably go back down to the floor, okay? And here we go, we got 20. And again, each rep, you may find that you're gonna have to adjust that ball somehow. Again, you wanna try to get as close to full range as possible. That's also why I'm going slower, so I can actually get through that full range of motion. strong at all sorts of depths, not just a depth that's associated with speed, at least if you're not paying attention to that. Okay, so again, draw the belly in, engage those glutes. And you might find, again, you might want to play around with the bicep curl or a side raise. Again, it doesn't all happen at once. And last one. And switching sides. All right. So notice my legs are flush, and that's how I'm trying to set up my ball, okay? And it's just the shin, or it's just the top of the foot, maybe just the toes that touch that ball. Again. Now, I started right away with those bicep curls, but it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to end with them. Remember, only add on what the body is capable of adding on, okay? Now, this is a leg I'm not always excited about trying to find depth on, not because it hurts. It's an unconscious thing. So I gotta go a little bit slower. An instability in that right knee. Good. That was the last one, which you can see as I go deeper. But as long as I'm not fighting the stability, then it's not a big deal. Let's say you can't hold both a single weight and you need to do both weights. So that's a 10 pounds, I'm gonna grab 2 5 pounds. Now I'm gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring them together because the whole point of this is to help give you some space. If you don't have that space that you need from the thoracic spine, okay? Majority of the people do not have that space, so they end up shrugging their shoulders, dropping their head, and just to get this arm position. You don't need to do it. Even if those arms come apart, notice I'm still doing a tricep extension. Draw that belly in, slide those shoulders down the back. I could have messed this one up. It could have been 15 or 20. It's okay. I'm not going to die if I don't get it correct. All right. So, again, you're on the ball. All right. Again, we want to find that length through the spine. Draw the belly in. So I'm not looking forward. I'm not dropping my head down. I have to pull my ears back over the shoulders. So that gaze is really in between those 2 points. Then drawing the belly in, slide those shoulders down the back. And again, at this point, you might be really fatiguing, so you may find you need to bring that ball in a bit more. And if you do, those hips go up higher towards the ceiling. But again, it's like me dropping the 10 pounds last line for the 5 pounds. Okay, now, again, for the ball, we're conforming. If you're too far back, the neck isn't strong enough, you've got to roll back here, okay? Draw the belly in, keep it tight both directions. Your mouth is closed, tongue on the roof of the mouth, right behind the front teeth. And again, mine has to be open because of the cueing. Okay, so we're not staring at the ceiling. We're looking down those cheekbones. So when we come up, we're actually looking at those abdominals. Yeah, just one more. Again, it's not a race. And it's fine that you don't feel something, okay? Abdominal work doesn't actually need to fry up within a few reps like that. If that's the case, your abdominals are actually quite weak. This is one that sneaks up on you, okay? Now, tricep push-ups again. We're not sagging in the hips. Upper back is active. I still engage my glutes. I'm pointing my elbows back towards the back wall. Again, I'm more interested in training with my legs straight than I am depth. Now, because I'm trying to talk and cue, I'm fatiguing a lot faster. So I'm dropping to my knees. Remember, don't be afraid to drop. Last one, to your knees. To finish. You don't want to finish with shitty form. That's just stupid. It's just really stupid. You'll get stronger faster with good form, and there's longevity for your joints and muscles then. All right, we're going to go into block 2. Block 2, we're going to go down the hill. Which means we're starting with 20 repetitions. So this one, we're going to do a squat, push, press. All right, so squat, push, press, we take a little bit more narrow stance. All right, we're going to squat down a little. Now I'm going to do a side view so you can see what this squat looks like. So I'm sitting back. I'm not going forward, okay? So I'm gonna go back and then up. Now, again, I'm sitting back, so I'm sitting on a chair. Draw the belly in, engage the glutes. I'm pushing up with that mid-back. Glutes are helping me push up. Again, I'm sitting into that chair. All right, you have one more and release. All right, next move is a drop lunge or a curtsy lunge with a bicep curl. What people like to do on this one is round and do their bicep curls rounded. Okay, if you want shoulder and neck trouble, round. If you don't, get that chest out. And we're going to activate that upper back to stabilize the shoulders. Curtsy lunge is not this. I'm not rotating completely. Okay, my hips stay square and I'm dropping back behind. Okay, it's important. Sometimes in a group dynamic, it's a little harder to teach that because we're all at different fitness levels for that day. Okay, so notice I'm keeping my hips square to the front. I'm not going to the left or the right so much that I have to rotate towards the left or to the right. My hips stay square to the front, which means you need to pay attention. Upper body. Notice I'm not bringing my hands all the way up to my shoulders. Really hard to see because of the ends of the dumbbell. This is the last one. These ones are big because we got 2 big exercises back to back. So the heart rate goes up fairly fast. Now, if you have a ball, we're going to do reverse hyperextensions on the ball. You can do these flat on the floor. Remember, range of motion is significantly restricted. Now, if you would like a dumbbell in between your feet, you're gonna have to put the dumbbell right here. It's easier with shoes off and not on. I'm gonna grab the dumbbell right where my arch is, okay? Now this is right in front of my shins. I'm not gonna be able to get that. So I'm gonna bend the knees, get in front. Boy, this is hard to slow that down. And now I've got it. It is much easier to do this with shoes off or have Vibrams on, where it's practically you're in your bare feet. You draw the belly in, engage the glutes. Again, you still slide those shoulders down the back. Notice I am not bouncing my legs off the ball using momentum, pretending I'm doing a hip extension. And one more. Again, sometimes in class, we're unconsciously competing with other people, and we will have a tendency to do those things, okay? And it might be so deeply ingrained into your system, you don't even know that you're doing it. All right, this is a reverse crunch. I'm using weight, but you might not end up using weight, okay? Now, a lot of people love to swing this and lift. I'm here to tell you that is wrong, and you will miss lower abdominals completely. Knee is above the hip, not in front of the hip. This is easy, by the way. As soon as I bring it there, lower abdominals have to engage. If your knees are bent, that's fine, okay? Your head is up. I'm looking at my abdominals, and I'm lifting and lowering. So because we are on the floor, range of motion is significantly restricted, okay? Bigger is not better for your reverse crunches. It's really small area to work. We were on a bench and we had something to hang on to for leverage, then going bigger range of motion is easier to attain those. Last one. Now we have a push-up where we have 45 degrees at the elbow, meaning we're no longer under the shoulders. We're taking the hands to pretty much, the pinkies go to the outer edge of your mat. So now when I go down, again, I'm not going down like this. Pulling the hips up. By the way, it's still straight line, so don't message me saying it's not a straight line, it's a different vector I'm working, okay? If I go down, my elbows go at a 45-degree angle. So think instead of corners of the room, or instead of back of the room, think corners of the room. Again, slide the shoulders down the back, a lot of tricep here. Remember, if your triceps are starting to fatigue, you can go halfway. You still draw the belly in, slide those shoulders down the back. This one is a little easier in the sense, you have one more, that we're pulling in chest more significantly, so it's a bigger muscle group. But then you might find it super hard and it feels more like a tricep push-up than the tricep push-up itself. That's because there's 3 heads to the tricep, and this is emphasizing one particular head of 3. Come out here is emphasizing a different one, and then when we go wider, you're still hitting them all. It's just one has different leverage and different capability. That's why, depending on hips up, hips down, it's always a straight line. It's a vector in working. Most people cannot work the lower vector, they're not strong enough. All right. Now we've got going down to 15. All right, here we go. Stop, shoulders width apart, and push up and down. Remember, for your squat, you're sitting back, sitting into that squat. Your squat might not be that deep, maybe it's a little shallow. That's fine. Make sure those hips go out. Last one. All right. Then we have your curtsy. Open up the chest. Remember, I'm not trying to rotate or step to the right or to the left excessively. Otherwise, you're taking up one, in a classroom situation that's simply too much room that you're taking up. And then 3, 2, you don't need to take up that kind of space. And you're altering the intention of the movement and putting stresses on places on the joints that actually don't need those excessive stresses. Last one, because you're already placing stresses there, that's why it's a position of strength. All right. If you're on the floor for reverse hypers, you certainly cannot add weight. All right. Oops. And we lift and lower. So even if I didn't have the weight in between my feet, I would still be going this slow because I want my glutes to work. Draw the belly in. And I'm actually in the process of losing the weight. I don't actually have a good grip. And last one. Again, I don't want to bounce off the ball. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't actually serve anybody. Except that you get good at bouncing off the ball. If you're going to use weight, again, you don't need to use weight. Knees above the hips, head up, lift and lower. Notice I'm not moving my upper body. And again, this is a position where your mouth is closed. Mine's open because I am cueing. It's a small move. Notice I'm barely moving off the floor. There's a slight movement inward, but it's not excessive because I'm not after that height. And then your 45-degree push-up, what that looks like from the front is like this. Again, you still activate that upper back. Your upper back helps take you down on that push-up. Still engaging the abdominals. I still tense up the glutes. And last one. All right, so remember, again, while you're on this break, you can stretch quads, hip flexors. You can stretch into those hips. Again, we're not looking for a big stretch. It's just enough to quiet down. Let our heart rate recover. It's actually really a huge indicator on whether you're going into the next round or not, or that next level. Now, I'm simply guessing, and of course I'm talking through all this, so my heart rate basically is just constantly up because of the talking. All right, so we're gonna do 10, here we go. Push it up and down, good. And sitting into the hips. Nice. That squat helps you push it up, that was the last one. And that curtsy. Lunge. Again, notice you don't see my foot come way out there. It's not what I'm doing, okay? It's not quite a balance beam, but it's not a railroad track off to the other side, okay? Chest is open. It's the last one. Release. It's always nice going downhill. All right. And again, the reason I don't like to race into each movement is there's setup time. You need time to get into that position. Now, if this hurts your belly, like you're getting punched in the stomach or you're gonna throw up, move forward a bit. Some of that is just position, how much water I've got in my belly. Then your reverse crunches, reverse lifts. And again, try to keep the legs, hips, we lift, and lower. Good. Again, your mouth is closed. One more. And then your push-ups. All right. I am, for the last one, going to play with the full. Again, I'm not dropping my hips doing push-ups like that. So this means my range of motion will be restricted. Engaging my glutes, tensing my legs, my abs. My body says, no, I'm not going to do all 10 of those on my toes. Release. Shake it out. Whew. I don't teach much talking at a high intensity anymore, so I'm definitely out of breath. All right, so next block, last block of 5 exercises. We're going to go back up, okay? Which means we're starting with 10. Now, we have front raises. So in general, you would do a lighter weight, right? Because I don't want you to use momentum, because we're also going to do calf raises. So when you do calf raises, when you come up, don't plop down. I see a lot of people plop down pretty regularly. And then when you come up, don't go out to pinky toes just for height. You need to keep rolling through big toe, okay? We still engage the glutes, lower abdominals, upper back. Come up and down. Okay, so now at some point, now my legs are not together for this. I'll irritate my shoulders, okay? But what also I might find is that I'm not going to be able to take my hands as high, possibly with this movement. Okay, I'm trying to stay through big toe, and I'm trying to lower with control. Last one. All right. Now we have a bent over lat raise. It's not a bent over row. So the position is fairly similar. Feet are a little bit wider. We bend the knees. We tip forward. Palms face your thighs. My arms are not way up here. They need to be close. Pinky goes up towards the ceiling. Slide the shoulders down the back. So if it feels like you're doing a shrug, see how my shoulders change? Well, then you probably are. You gotta constantly slide those shoulders down the back. Let's have one more. Good. All right. Now, we have a bent over, back extension. You can do this on the floor. Engage the glutes. Again, you're not going to come very high. If you are on the wall, if you have a ball, you've got a wall or a couch, put your feet up, the heels up against the wall, toes on the floor. Bend those knees. This is what it would look like if I was up against, or if you saw me up against the wall. Bending those knees is what helps hook the ball. You're going to squeeze those glutes, slide those shoulders down the back. I'll try being on the other wall so you can see if that's a better angle. Just one more. All right, now, if you have a ball, we're gonna do a supine hip extension with knee flexion. If you don't have a ball, you're just doing hip glute bridge, feet flat on the floor. All right, so arms go out, legs are straight, we lift. Now notice how high I come up on top of my shoulders. My hips have to lift that high, going down and then lowering. Up, lift, extend, lower. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, toes need to be straight up and down so they're not rolling open as you roll this in. They need to stay straight up and down. It just means there's some key hamstring, inner thigh muscles that just don't want to work, and they're going to learn to work. That's your last one. And a wide push-up. So now we go outside of the mat. Elbows now go more towards the right and to the left. Again, I'm not sagging in the hip doing my push-ups that way. You want to get the glutes in, it'll tear up your back. Here we go. We have 10. And rest. Those ones are easier because I am pulling a lot more chest, but it can also be harder on the shoulder, depending on what you've got going on in your shoulder. Okay, now, we're going up for 15. I know they seem like a really short break. I think you can do it, okay? So we're gonna go up and down, up and down. Again, slide the shoulders down the back. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. I'm not rounding to get it up. Upper back. If you cannot lift your weight with your back in this position, it simply means you need a lighter weight. Okay, and now we're going to bend the knees, side raise, side lat raise. I'm emphasizing rear delt. That's why the pinkies go up towards the ceiling. And sliding the shoulders down the back, drawing the belly in. Good. So again, I'm not trying to bring this up. I'm not trying to shrug. Okay, one more. That's going to kill your neck. All right, so we have back extension. So let's see if this is a better angle. So you can see my position. Seems like it would be. All right, so here we go. Glutes, abs, upper back. Now, the more of my torso that is over the ball, the harder this is going to be because that's more of my body weight that I need to lift. Okay, again, I'm engaging my glutes and going all the way over. There's nothing wrong with, just do one more. There's nothing wrong with spinal flexion. We're meant to do it. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do it. All right, here we go. Remember, break this movement up because if you're just rolling in like this, you're gonna overwork this area and you're gonna miss glutes and hamstrings, or at least upper hamstrings. So we've got 15. Now, if you're finding that you cannot do this movement to the full extent at some point, you may find all you can do is do hip extension. That's fine. This takes a lot of strength it might look like it doesn't. And what I mean by that, last one, is that when you've got somebody presenting a movement that they do all the time, it looks easy, okay? It looks like it's effortless. All right, wide push-up. Remember, you can play around with a full push-up. You're going to still slide the shoulders down the back, engage the glutes. I'm not sagging at the hip. And I still want to make sure I'm going to engage my glutes. And one more. And also be careful, you're not trying to find depth by taking your face and head down there first. It's another thing people like to do. Sometimes it's an unconscious strategy the body is doing in order to find the range of motion you see me doing. Make sure you're developing the proper strength. All right. Now, make sure you get a drink. All right. We have 20 reps now. We're on the last part, okay? Now, here we go. Okay, activate the upper back, engage the glutes, come up through the toes. And again, I'm going to turn to the side. You're not able to hold this position and lift up those arms. You need to lower the weight. So if you're rounding, it still looks like I'm straight, but if you're rounding doing this, it's all upper trap. You're going to kill your neck and shoulders. Try to stay, again, it doesn't matter if you're doing 3 pounds or 2 pounds, 10 pounds. Form needs to be good. And last one, bend those knees. And slide the shoulders down the back. Maybe you need to take a wider stance with those feet. Maybe you need to draw or bend the knees more. And drawing the belly in. Slide the shoulders down the back. As you lift and as you lower. Good. Have a couple of more. And last one. All right. Then you have your back extension. And again, as we do this, the farther I get out over the ball, the harder it is. So be careful. Cross the arms. Engage the glutes. Glutes, lower abs. Help pick you up. The wider the position with your feet on the wall, the more base of support that you have. So of course, we want to challenge that stability. You can bring the feet closer. Last one. All right. And now, your supine extension, feet on the ball with knee flexion. Here we go. Legs are straight when you lift and lower. Now remember, you might be going at a slower pace than what I'm going. What is more important is that you go at your pace, and this ball does move as you do this. Now my hips are, my hamstrings are fatiguing really nicely. So these last 5, I'm just gonna lift. I'm pressing my arms into the floor, squeezing those glutes. That was the last one. And then you have push-ups, wide. Everyone outside of that mat. I'm gonna do a few. Now, Again, you don't want to look at the toes, you don't want to look forward. I'm not trying to move my head to get closer to the floor, even though it's tempting. I still want my chest to get down there first. Yikes. And last one. And now you're done. All right, so don't forget to stretch, okay? You can stretch all throughout the day. You can be at your desk while you do some of these stretches, okay? You might need to be in them longer. Press those heels into the floor. All right. Have a great day.